Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 3, entitled The Birth of Lord Krishna. Text 20. Satvam Triloka Stitaye Swamayaya Bibarshi Shuklam Kaluvanamatmana Sagaya Raktam Rajaso Pabrimhitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janatyaye Satvam Triloka Stitaye Swamayaya Bibarshi Shuklam Kaluvanamatmana Sagaya Raktam Rajaso Pabrimhitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janatyaye Satvam Triloka Stitaye Swamayaya Bibarshi Shuklam Kaluvanamatmanaha Sagaya Raktam Rajasopa Brimhitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janatyaye. Satyam Tiloka. Satam Triloka Site Samaya Yavasi Shuklam Kalvanamatmana Tagaya Raktam Rajasopa Bimitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janataye. Mataji. Satam Tiloka Sitaye Swamaya Vivashi Shuklam Kalavana Sagaya Raktam Rajasopa Bimitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janate. Satam Tiloka Site Samaya Vivasi Shuklam Kalivana Sagaya Raktam Rajasopa Bimitam Tamasa Janate. Satam Tiloka Sitaye Swamaya Vivashi Shuklam Kalivanamatmaya Sagaya Raktam Rajasopa Vimitam Krishnam Chavanam Tamasa Janate. Satvam Tiloka Sitaye Samaya Vivashi Shuklam Kaluvanamatmana Krishnam Savanam Tamasa Janate. Satvam, your Lordship, who are the same person, the transcendence. Triloka Stitaye, to maintain the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Swamayaya, by your personal energy. Atma Mayaya, Bibashi, assume, Shuklam, the white form of Vishnu in goodness, Kalu, as well as Varnam, Kala, Atmanaha, of the same category as you, Vishnu Tattva, Sargaya, for the creation of the entire world, Raktam, the reddish color of Rajaguna, Rajasa, with the quality of passion, Upabrinhitam, being charged, Krishnam cha, and the quality of darkness, Varnam, the color, Tamasa, which is surrounded by ignorance, Jana Atyaye, for the ultimate destruction of the entire creation. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three material modes. Yet for the maintenance of the three worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish. And at the end, when there is a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. Please repeat. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three material modes. Yet for the maintenance of the three worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish. And at the end, when there is a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. Purport. Vasudeva prayed to the Lord, quote, you are called Shuklam. Shuklam, or whiteness, is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth, because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta, or red, because Brahma represents the qualities of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of this cosmic manifestation are conducted by your potencies, and yet you are always unaffected by those qualities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Hari Hir Niguna Sakshat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord. In this verse, the three colors mentioned, Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna, are not to be understood literally, in terms of what we experience with our senses, but rather as representatives of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamaguna. After all, sometimes we see that a duck is white, although it is in Tamaguna, the mode of ignorance. Illustrating the logic called Bakanda Nyaya, the duck is such a fool that it runs after the testicles of a bull, thinking them to be a hanging fish that can be taken when it drops. Thus the duck is always in darkness. Vyasadeva, however, the compiler of the Vedic literature, is blackish, but this does not mean that he is in Tamaguna. Rather, he is in the highest position of Sattva Guna, beyond the mature modes of nature. Sometimes these colors, Shukla, Raktas, Tata, Pitaha, are used to designate the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. Lord Shivadakshayi Vishnu is celebrated as possessing a blackish color. Lord Shiva is whitish, and Lord Brahma is reddish. But according to Srila Sanatana Goswami in the Vaishnav Toshani Tika, this exhibition of colors is not what is referred to here. The real understanding of Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna is as follows. The Lord is always transcendental, but for the sake of creation, he assumes the color Rakta as Lord Brahma. Again, sometimes the Lord becomes angry, as he says in Bhagavad Gita 16:19. Tanaham dishita kruran samsaresu naradaman kshipama jashram ashuban asurishweva yonisu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. To destroy the demons, the Lord becomes angry, and therefore he assumes the form of Lord Shiva. In summary, The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always beyond the material qualities, and we should not be misled into thinking otherwise simply because of sense perception. One must understand the position of the Lord through the authorities or Mahajanas, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Ete changsa kalapungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 3, Text 20. The birth of Lord Krishna. First, I would like to express my gratitude to be amongst such an illustrious assembly of Vaishnavas. I'm very young in devotional service, but by the mercy of my spiritual master and the parampara, somehow or the other, I am amongst this family of great Vaishnavas, and I am asked to speak from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I ask for blessings. And also I just want to apologize that the purports are done by Srila Prabhupada's disciples, not Srila Prabhupada. So translation. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three material modes, yet for the maintenance of the three worlds, you are... It is. 13th. Hare Krishna. So this is proof that actually I'm in safe association. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll start again the translation. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three material modes, yet for the maintenance of the three worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish. And at the end, when there's a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. The verse is spoken by Vasudeva, who is offering prayers to Lord Krishna, who has apparently taken birth, although the devotees understand that the Lord never takes birth because he is unborn. Ajopi san avyayatma. And he is talking about the transcendental form of the personality of Godhead. So this transcendence is a great difficulty for souls who are conditioned within the material nature. We form that group of souls that are conditioned in the material nature, and therefore our quest for perfect knowledge is always impeded by the conditioning that we have fallen under. The Lord is expressing in the Bhagavad Gita how he is never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, he is always covered by his yoga maya potency. Naham prakasha savasa, yoga maya samavita. If I had begun the class and said Hare Krishna to all the unintelligent and foolish persons here, no one would be happy to hear that. But Krishna, he is so kind and so honest and upfront in the Bhagavad Gita that he mentions straightforwardly that the living beings, being in material nature, become unintelligent and foolish. He mentions one group of unintelligent persons as those who worship the demigods. That desiring material benefits, they worship material administrators because they want quick benefit. And so he says that's not good. Then he says there's another class also of unintelligent persons that think Krishna to be someone who was impersonal before, and now he has assumed that personal feature that was walking on this planet. So in this world, living beings desire to have knowledge. They want to know about the world, about themselves. And in this way, there are different ways by which people try to understand their situation and also form a philosophy upon which they're going to lead their lives. One such group is following traditions. Persons are born into different situations and they find a particular way of life that has been followed. And so based on tradition, they conduct their lives. So tradition means in the past, this is what we have done. So Prabhupada has revealed how this can be very limited and dangerous to be the basis of one's life. He gives the example of persons who were living on a particular plot of land, and there was a well in that land. And everyone used to gather their water from that well. And in course of time, the well became polluted. And the persons that were drinking from that well were becoming sick. But when asked, why are you continuing to drink from that water? Because everyone's becoming sick and affected. And the persons were saying, look, my forefathers, they drank from this well, my grandparents. So in our family, we've always taken water from this well. So sometimes we are following traditions blindly. Another group is persons who are following the current culture. So the culture of the day means what is happening now. And we are all well aware of the culture of the 21st century. Actually, to call it culture is not correct because it is very uncultured life, actually to the point where the human beings have lost the qualification as actual human beings, but are acting even lower than animals. So the culture also changes, so it is not fixed. Like you take the fashion industry. My mother, she was expressing how the things that were in vogue, fashionable in her youth, and had gone away as unfashionable, have come back maybe twice or thrice already in her lifetime. So at one moment something is validated as the proper worldview, the fashionable thing to do, and then in time it's called unfashionable, unnecessary. So in this way, following the culture is also not beneficial. Like for the devotees, we have a danger in imbibing modern culture. In that if we somehow or the other take their ideas of what success is into heart, then we are being swept away on that boat with those ideas which are contrary to the devotional ideas of success. The success materially is generally something external. What can you show? What do you have? Who do you know? And it's always linked to this body, how beautiful this body is, how famous this body is. And for the Vaishnava, the success is something deeper and internal. And that cannot necessarily be displayed so much externally. This is seen in today's world with the Protestant ideal. is that if God is on your side, then we see that by how much material opulent success is there to be seen. Whereas when you look at Vedic civilization, it talks about simple living, higher thinking. Therefore, there's an element of renunciation, ascetic living. And so we see in Southern Africa, especially where I live, it's Christian dominated. And when they look at the Vaishnavas in robes and saris, they definitely conclude that poor people, God has really turned his face from them. They cannot identify with what type of success is this. Look at your hairstyle, look at the clothes you're wearing, look at the mud on your face. So in this way, because they are in a culture which says that be part of the tribe that wears suit and tie and carries a briefcase, and then you are successful, they think that tribe is much more advanced than the tribe of dhotis and kurtas and saris. And so they are becoming misled because that knowledge that they are receiving is simply aimed at something that is temporary. Other people, they use their minds to try and figure out a proper path in life, how to live. Some of us maybe sitting in this audience were once upon a time in that category, where we were looking around to see what group of persons and what mode of life can we commit ourselves to for living out this life. So there are so many ways, so many paths. It's actually a maze, this material existence, where to go, who to follow. So in that situation, Krishna was mentioning in Bhagavad Gita 4 types of people that come to devotional service. Those that are inquisitive, those that are desiring wealth, those that are suffering from some misery, and those who want knowledge of the absolute truth. Krishna is saying that all of these souls, they are magnanimous because they approach him. But he highlights that the one who is looking for knowledge of the absolute truth is more dear because the knowledge of the absolute truth is actually himself. He is the absolute truth. Whereas inquisitive may come and look and put a tag on it, this is what they do, and walk away. Someone is counteracting miseries. If the situation changes, then desire fulfilled, they move on. But those who want the absolute truth, they will discover that the absolute truth is never really going to be attained and captured and job done, complete. So our process of Krishna consciousness is saying that we should understand the absolute truth hearing from the authorities or the Mahajans. As Srila Prabhupada writes, at the end of the purport, one must understand the position of the Lord through the authorities or Mahajans. Mahajanayena Gatasa Panta. So this worldview is such that if we are conditioned and in this world, and we cannot possibly stretch our senses to understand something beyond this world, then we have no chance to know. We have to accept someone who knows to come and tell us what is going on. So this parampara system is, as Prabhupada had said, if you want the ripe mango, which is at the top of the tree, then someone has to climb up, pick it up, and pass it down to someone, and to someone, and then to the person on the floor. Therefore, you get the mango as it is, without spoiling it by dropping it. As devotees, we are faced with the task to spread Krishna consciousness, to explain the Lord, and to explain his transcendental position to the other living beings who have not come across. So, to make them understand actually that because these days, persons consider that if they can hold a job, if they can run a family or business, if they are well-spoken, well-dressed, then they can understand anything and everything. And therefore they depend very much on sense perception, which in this purport Prabhupada is saying will not help. Mm-hmm. Queen Kunti in the Bhagavatam is mentioning obstacles that are there for us to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She says, Maya Javanika Achanam. There is first of all the material energy, which is the three modes of nature, which are like a curtain, Javanika Achanam. So this deluding curtain of Maya is placed before the living being and the personality of Godhead. And then Agya Dokshaja Mavyayam. And then also we are born ignorant. Everyone comes in, small body, cannot feed oneself, cannot clothe oneself. Actually, if there's no parents, the human child is so vulnerable, they cannot live. And then some or the other, we are raised, we learn the ABCs, and we get the letters behind our name, MAD, PhD, permanent head damage. And then we become so intelligent to say that there is no God. And because other persons also have this same contamination motivation to be the enjoyers, controllers of this world, they happily agree to that idea. Enjoy Krishna's property without Krishna. So how can those who are behind this curtain, those who are born ignorant, understand the personality of Godhead? Also, the personality of Godhead is Adokshaja. He is beyond the range of mature sense perception. So Krishna is kind though. In Bhagavad Gita, he himself is informing us who he is and what his position is. Otherwise, he cannot be perceived by the blunt material senses. Atashi Krishna namadi nabhave grayam indriya. That the blunt material senses, they have no chance in understanding the transcendental personality of Godhead. Cannot understand the name, the form, the pastimes. It's a big problem. So she says, Nalaksha se mudadrisha. The foolish observer, he cannot go past these layers, deluding energy like a curtain, born in ignorance, and the Lord being beyond the range of sense perception. So we require another way to see the Lord, another way to extend our senses to understand, as Vasudeva is saying, your form is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Prabhupada would give, in very simple terms, but very profound, that how much we have faith in seeing in this material world is such a disadvantage to our spiritual advancement. He would give the example of every day people are seeing the sun. And when you see the sun, it is a disk no bigger than this television. But when we see through the eyes of knowledge, those who are studying the sun through some scientific equipment, then the sun is such a huge planet, such a distant planet. And so Prabhupada is encouraging that the actual seeing, if we want to see the Lord, then we should hear from those who have seen the absolute truth. It is often a problem in practically across the world is that people also, they come and see the deity of the Lord. They stand there and they observe the devotees bowing down, offering prayers, sometimes, worshipping, waving items. And in their hearts, in all honesty, are thinking, wow, how have these people become so confused? that they actually believe that this is God. Because I can see this is a statue. I mean, I can see it. And so, having faith in that sense perception, they make these erroneous conclusions. This is idol worship. Or this is just really some tribal, ancient Indian thing that has confused a few in America and everywhere else. So without actually hearing from someone who has the transcendental vision, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, the medium of exchange between the living being and the supreme being is love. Krishna is a person. Any one of us are persons also. We have our own secrets that we lock within our own hearts. And we would never really reveal certain aspects of our lives to anyone, any stranger. We share ourselves to those who care about us, who love us. And this love is how Krishna can be understood. As Krishna is saying everywhere, by bhakti. Bhaktya tvanyaya shakta. By this unalloyed devotion can I be known. Gyatum drastum pravestum. You cannot see me, you cannot understand the mysteries of my existence, you cannot come to me if you don't love me. So we have to begin with a bit of faith. I can relate my own incident, my first time at the temple. This was in Pretoria in South Africa. In the morning, so first of all, we got up early, which was very surprising for me. Why so early? And then we sang some songs, it was good. And then they pulled out the Tulsi plant, now that I know Tulsi Maharani. And one of the devotees who was friendly to me at the university preaching to me, all of a sudden is waving some items also to this plant. And then we are walking around this plant. And in my mind I'm thinking, whatever they've been saying has been making sense to me. But this, I mean, I thought they were very wise. Now, what is this plant worship all about? But fortunately for me, His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj was also in the temple. And after the arati, he was with great enthusiasm and absorption, just chanting and walking around Tulsi. And every now and then stopping, folding his hands. Initially when I'd seen him, I thought, I mean, he's old. Can't they let the elders rest and let the young ones come to this arati? And then I saw that he is so enthusiastic to do this. There must be something very important and meaningful behind the activity. So by his action and the action of the devotees, some faith was transmitted to me. And I thought, I don't know much, but there are many, I am one, they're doing it, they must know. Maybe let me wait a bit to understand later what is going on. So the devotees, by their experience of the Absolute Truth through devotional service, are carriers of faith for others. When they see the devotees, as Prabhupada said, there's no better preaching than happy devotees. If they're happily worshipping Tulsi, then you must wonder that there must be some ecstasy around this worshipping of Tulsi, for example. If they are happily dancing before the deities, they've dressed the deities so gorgeously, and everyone is happy in worshipping, then because we are looking for enjoyment, it creates an interest in the conditioned soul to come forward. In this verse particularly, it is describing how the Lord, He maintains this material universe through His different qualitative incarnations of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness being Vishnu, passion being Lord Brahma, and ignorance being Lord Shiva. So again, Krishna's ability to do any and everything is revealed, how he alone actually is everything. But to do different things, he himself expands to make sure that they are done. And so in the purport, it is described how the modes of nature are classified or categorized with these colors of white, red, and black. Then Shuklam, whiteness, is a symbolic representation of the absolute truth. This we can understand that when it is dark, then things that are even very close to us cannot be easily perceived or seen. So when the light comes, then we can see things clearly. So goodness. And passion, red, means like go. You know, chilies is red and fire. So Brahmaji is in charge of creating, making sure that everything is available. And to destroy, then is Lord Shiva's department. And all of these are expansions, incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is the ultimate manager. If you want to learn management, then we can study in some way the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beyond this material universe, it's transcendental, but he, as the authority, cares for all the living beings within this material world. So he's always very careful to make sure that everything is running accordingly. He is our Father who art in Goloka, in Vaikunta, in heaven, in our hearts. So Krishna's kindness is so wonderful that in many, many ways he is available. He's available as Srimad Bhagavatam. He's available in his deity form. He's available in our own hearts. So in many ways, the Lord has expanded himself to facilitate the living beings getting back to the real business of this loving exchange. Because love is what makes things go around. We are motivated by that. Nothing can depress us, even lead us to suicide, than feeling unloved, unvalued, not cared for. This is Krishna. If we hear how much he has made these arrangements for us, then if we are honest, then we want to take shelter of him. They say that the Lord is good all the time. So another side is that the Lord is good also when he takes away or destroys. So in the message of the pure devotees, the Mahajans, we get to understand Krishna in all his dealings. And we get to see that his mercy is not only when things are in line with what we want to see happen, but also when things seem to go against our desires. Because he is the caring Father, that is also an aspect of his mercy. Srila Prabhupada, being one such Mahajan, has also displayed in the world actually the care of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because it is easy for us to say that just surrender to Krishna and Krishna will take care of everything. But the care of Krishna is seen and felt and understood when we receive the care of Krishna's devotees, Krishna's representatives. If the devotees of Krishna do not show care, then how are we to have faith that the master they represent is actually a caring master? So one major department of caring is to distribute transcendental knowledge. The world is in such a state of confusion about reality and about God that without hearing correctly from the scriptures from a realized soul, it will be very difficult for them to accept the relationship we have with the Lord, because they misunderstand Krishna. If he cared for us, why did he create such a world with so much difficulties? If he loved us, why should our loved ones die? If he actually cared, why so many wars? So in this way, pointing fingers to the Lord and becoming angry at the Lord without understanding that, first of all, this is a correctional facility that Krishna has made. So Prabhupada has made that understanding available to us. Like the devotee easily says that, oh, by Krishna's mercy, my reactions have been minimized. And therefore we are able to tolerate so many things. So the Lord is our well-wisher. He is present everywhere. He is maintaining everything, creating everything, destroying everything. But all these arrangements that the Lord is making, his most ardent desire is to allow the living beings to change their desire from trying to enjoy separately from him and look towards him, cooperate with him, and again be established as his loving servants. In this way, when there is love, then the Lord, who is transcendental, who is inconceivable, becomes conceivable to the living beings. And when there is Krishna consciousness, then the byproduct is happiness. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Is there any comments from the devotees? Hare Krishna. She? Yes, ma'am.
One person was asking, when I was at he's asking, how do you know that the Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a historical account? How do you know that these words are actually spoken like that? And I said, well, you have to, by service, you have to develop love. Exteriorize with love, and then you can understand. Everybody wants to understand God without making decisions, without loving. One thing Savyasaci Prabhu said, he said that it's like Gyanis, the devotees want to come and by service, you were mentioning that Krishna opens up himself and by his mercy reveals to us. Gyanis are out in the garbage can, they're trying to piece together evidence. Snooping around.
Yeah. Thank you. Prabhu was making the point, if you didn't hear. Yeah, that again, by love. People want to know if Chaitanya Charitamrita is an accurate account. Prabhu was explaining that if you serve, then you can understand the knowledge. But if you just bring your crude mind and try to figure things out, as Vaisheshika Prabhu had said, that is like looking into the garbage bin and trying to piece together the reality. So thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopimanande. Hari Om.